What if I told you that one man saved more lives than any doctor, any soldier, any leader in human history? That in the 1960s, the world was on the brink of the greatest famine ever recorded, and almost no one saw it coming. Scientists predicted that by the year 2000, billions would starve to death. There simply wasn't enough food. But one man, a farmer's son from Iowa, refused to accept that future. This is his story. The year is 1944. World War II is still raging. But in the quiet fields of Mexico, a different kind of war is beginning. The human population was exploding. In 1900, there were 1.6 billion people on Earth. By 1960, 3 billion, and the rate was accelerating. Food production couldn't keep up. In India alone, millions were dying of hunger. In Mexico, wheat harvests were failing year after year. Scientists like Paul Ehrlich predicted catastrophe. His book, The Population Bomb, warned that by the 1970s, hundreds of millions would starve, and there was nothing we could do about it. But Norman Borlaug didn't believe in nothing. He believed in soil, in seeds, in work. And he was about to prove the world wrong. Norman Ernest Borlaug was born in 1914 on a small farm in Cresco, Iowa. His family were Norwegian immigrants, tough, hard-working, practical. Life on the farm taught him one lesson early. You survive by outworking your problems. In 1933, Borlaug left the farm to study forestry at the University of Minnesota. But it was during the Great Depression that he saw something that changed him forever. He watched men, strong, capable men, standing in bread lines, begging for food, not because they were lazy, but because the system had failed them. He switched his focus to plant pathology. He wanted to understand why crops failed, why hunger existed, and how to stop it. In 1944, the Rockefeller Foundation sent Borlaug to Mexico. His mission? Fix the country's failing wheat crops. Mexican wheat was being destroyed by a fungus called stem rust. Entire harvests wiped out. Farmers were giving up. Borlaug spent the next 6 years in the dirt, literally, testing thousands of wheat varieties, crossbreeding, failing, trying again. He worked 16-hour days in brutal heat, slept in barns, ate tortillas and beans. His colleagues thought he was obsessed. They were right. And then, in 1953, he did it. He created a rust-resistant wheat variety that could thrive in Mexico's harsh climate. Within a few years, Mexico's wheat production doubled, then tripled. By 1956, Mexico, a country that couldn't feed itself, was exporting wheat. But Borlaug wasn't done. In the early 1960s, India and Pakistan were on the edge of catastrophe. Droughts, population growth, political instability. Famine was no longer a prediction, it was a certainty. The Indian government was desperate. They reached out to Borlaug. In 1963, Norman Borlaug arrived in India with a bold plan: bring his high-yield wheat seeds to South Asia. But there was a problem. Indian farmers didn't trust him. These were foreign seeds, unproven, risky. Borlaug didn't just hand over seeds and leave. He stayed. He trained thousands of farmers, taught them new techniques: fertilization, irrigation, crop rotation. And then, the impossible happened. The wheat grew, not just a little, it exploded. Yields increased by 70%, then 100%, then more. By 1968, India harvested more wheat than ever before in its history. Pakistan followed, then the Philippines, then across Asia and Africa. Between 1965 and 1970, wheat production in India doubled. And famine, the famine that was supposed to kill hundreds of millions, never came. Norman Borlaug had done the impossible. He had rewritten the future. In 1970, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. The committee said he had saved more lives than any person in history. 1 billion lives, maybe more. Today, the world produces more food than ever before. Over 8 billion people live on this planet, and we're not starving. That's because of the Green Revolution, because of Norman Borlaug. But here's the tragedy. If you ask 100 people on the street who Norman Borlaug was, maybe one will know. When he died in 2009, at the age of 95, his obituary was buried on page 17 of most newspapers. Meanwhile, celebrity gossip dominated the front page. He never sought fame, never chased wealth. He could have been rich. Instead, he spent his life in the dirt, working. He once said, "I've lived my whole life fighting hunger. That's all I ever wanted to do." And he did, more than anyone, ever. So why don't we know his name? Because we live in a world that worships celebrities, athletes, and billionaires. We celebrate people who entertain us, not people who save us. Norman Borlaug proved that one person, one determined, stubborn, relentless person, can change the world. He didn't need a stage. He didn't need applause. He just needed dirt, seeds, and a refusal to quit. And because of that, 1 billion people lived. Maybe it's time we remembered him.